This is a Davidic harp, and we're going to build it. We carved it out of a single chunk of wood. It's got 10 strings. It's a very, very ancient design. Someone gave me a photograph and said, build me one of these. And so that's just what I did. So a friend of mine, who is a pastor, a Messianic pastor, a good friend of mine, he wants me to turn this big, huge chunk of cedar into a Davidic harp. Now, a Davidic harp is the type of harp that King David in the Bible, David and Goliath and all that, yeah, he was a musician and a songwriter. That's where many of the Psalms in the Bible come from. We can't really know exactly what instrument, version of this harp he actually played. Now, oftentimes they crafted these things out of a solid chunk of wood, such as we will be doing here. The sound chamber will be here. But this is a pretty thick piece of wood here. It's, 2.5 inches or so. It's going to be interesting. I have a resaw blade. It's a nice Wolf brand bandsaw blade on my 14-inch bandsaw. What I started with was finding a photograph of one of these instruments. I brought it into my image editing software and I turned it into an outline, and I printed that outline onto a transparent, remember these things? One of them, an overhead projector. Yeah, here it is. So I actually took that and I projected it onto the wall, onto a piece of paper, which we see over here. Projected it on the wall and I blew it up to the size I wanted and traced it out. And we're going to use that as our model. So let's get to it. I guess we'll start with tracing this thing out. I guess back in the old days, they just sort of just did a lot of things by eye. Big chunk of rotten stuff in the middle. Tradition. All right. What I will do is use a Forstner bit. I'll drill these down and do that first. Well, I'm not used to cutting huge chunks of wood like this. What a beast! Okay. One. All right. Whew. Into the beast. potato chips. Save those for the fireplace. What would David do? Put a wedge in there. Need a wedge. Blade in there. Starting to look like a heart. It's beautiful out here. Not a guitar anywhere in sight. And we'll cast our line in, see what we get. Ah, beautiful. Oh, I got something. Whoa. Oh man, it's huge. Okay, so what I've done after, cut it out on the bandsaw and did some basic preliminary sanding to this. I want a nice deep bowl, so I want to take advantage of much of this chunky piece of wood that was given to me, but we need to par it down a bit. So I mean, these horns should be like horns that taper down to a smaller point. Yeah, I left myself some extra there, but I want them to taper down till they get down to about here or so. Just taper those down so they're like horns. I might carve them a little pointier here so they terminate. They actually look like bison horns or whatever, and that'll take some weight off. Next, I have to figure out how I'm going to hollow this out now. It's an attachment for an angle grinder. It's kind of weird looking. It works very well from all the videos I've seen. Everyone seems to be happy with it. So I'm going to pick one of those up. They're not cheap, but it looks like it could be pretty handy in my life to have something like that. So we're gonna probably use a Forstner bit to bully out a lot of this area in here to make our chamber. We'll go in with the Arbortech tool and make a nice smooth rounded bowl in there. Back then, before in the Bronze Age, when these things were designed, I don't know, they used their teeth or something to shape wood, but they did it. The Egyptians did some elegant things. They figured it out. In this day and age, we have power tools. This is too big for my 14-inch bandsaw, so I'm just gonna have to wing it with my Ryobi. Need a more solid bench is what I need. Well, it's working. Fine woodworking. There you go. Check this thing out. Yeah. Angle grinder. Basically took off the bulk of that uh, stuff there. Ah, okay, make that work. Ouch. It's gonna look kind of nice. Alright, it's starting to look like a heart. Take everything away that doesn't look like a Davidic harp. saving this for last because I need to do a little fine tuning up in here. Decide what I'm going to do with this thing. I kind of like it flared out like that, although the original is not, it's more like these lines here. Ultimately, I decided against that idea. When I drilled the hole, it really made a nice sound hole, so I decided not to do that. My concern, the shearing strength of the wood itself when it comes to installing these tuning pegs that you often see on harp instruments. So I'm thinking the top will be a blonde color. So I'm thinking of using a nice, hard rock maple. I got a nice piece here with some tiger figuring in there. But I want it to be flat sawn. I want the direction of the grain to be this way as opposed to this way, because the peg will go into the hole like that, and the string will exert pressure on it in this direction. And if you put a peg in here, there's a much more high chance of these grain lines cracking because of the peg pulling on it in this direction. So I want to use a flat sawn piece of wood. The cedar, the grain goes everywhere on this thing. It's a little crazy. I want something reliable and consistent and that will stand the test of time. About that much. Probably make it a little thinner. I'm going to notch this and double notch it on either side. I don't want to take too much strength out of here. I don't want to go down any more than halfway. And the same with this. We're going to make that next. I don't know if I need it to be quite that thick. This appears to be fairly thin, like a half an inch. I think I'd like to go a little more robust on that. Knowing what I do about instruments and the effects of time and stress and moisture and lack of moisture and etc. Wood expands and contracts, therefore I eat. This part is too important. It has to be able to withstand the pressures involved with 10 strings tuned at various pitches. One of those strings is pulling 10 pounds to 12 pounds. Do the math, comes out 130, 140 pounds, depending on the gauge. And that's a lot of pressure. So this part is important. I really want to have a quality piece of wood here. Okay, so we need to figure out the width of these strings. There's 10 strings. We have to keep in mind what's going on down here as well. So I don't have any measurements or a set of plans for this. I just have a picture. Okay, we need to cut the notches for this. And I'm going to use the butt of the instrument as a reference for string length here. I marked off how long I want the string to be on this scrap piece of rosewood. And just line it up with that. Okay, I'm just going to clamp a board here and a nice straight edge on it. And I have a router bit with some bearings on it. That stuff smells good. Yeah. Watch that. Do that one next. All right. Let's get a chisel and no. So the next thing we need to do is hollow out this area here. How they did it in the old days, they probably used a rock. I don't know. Fortunately, these days we have the benefit of modern engineering. I introduce to you the Arbortech ball gouge. It is designed to go on to an angle grinder, and it is very popular amongst woodworkers who like to make wooden bowls to hollow out a large piece of wood. It can be used for carving sculptures and whatnot. And let's have a look. I got this at Rockler. You can get them online as well. Comes with an instruction booklet there. Warranty. And there it is. Very odd looking thing, isn't it? And this ring here is very sharp along the edge here, and on the back as well. And I guess you can loosen this and turn it if the cutting edge gets dull or worn. And I think you can get replacement rings for this, although this is made of very, very high quality steel. Get some heft to it. This mounts onto the angle grinder. You take this off, of course, in this fashion, and you have yourself a dangerous tool to work with. Comes with a wrench, instructions, warranty, promo, warranty registration, all that other good stuff. So we are going to be using this to hollow out this area here. Since this is such a really a large amount of wood, and this is quite capable of doing it, but I think we can save some time by using a Forstner bit on a drill press. We can rough this out more quickly. I may take a router and route this inner edge first to get a nice clean edge on the inside. Then I will take a Forstner bit and go down and hollow this out as far as I dare go. And then I will clean up the rest of it with this tool here, make it nice and bowl-like around the inside edges. Support on the inside going this way, and the bridge on the outside going this way, creating an X pattern. These knots will be a challenge, I'm sure. This is not a piece of wood that I would have chosen. It was provided for me, so we have to work with what we've got. Okay, almost there. One more cut to go. This whole area in here, had these this knot and that knot. Man, that really it really challenges the machine, bogging down the motor and heating up the bit. Those knots are really, really hard. I got one more little cut I want to make, and the rest I'll do with the Arbortech. But man, it's giving me a hard time there. That's the hard section in there. All right, here we go. Last cut on this machine anyway. Well, it's quite a pile of shavings there. Nice cedar shavings. That's going to smell great in my wood stove this winter for a fire starter, I think. Well, I need a way to clamp this thing to the bench, and I think probably the easiest way is to screw it right to the bench. I'll just take a board like that, and big old screw right there, right into the bench. Okay, we get the power carve ball here. Of course, it's going to be a bit more smoothing out. I think we're going to be doing. I think what I will do is take my router with a large base on it, and just go around and clean up this so it's nice and neat around here, and just clean up these walls, and then I'll go back at it with this thing and just sort of smooth out the back and give it a little bowl shape in there. I plan on putting a pickup in this before I glue the top, because that's going to be easiest way. Put piezos underneath the bridge here, but I'll need an access hatch, so I avoided cutting this thing off yet, because I think I'm going to make a cap here with, like, a few screws here to hold it in, but have a access hatch here. So if the jack ever breaks or wears out, I'll have a way to fish it in and, fish it out and replace it and put it back in. All right. What I did was drew a nice clean line all the way around, and I've actually been taking the router very slowly with my extra wide base there, and just routing up to the line there, trying to get it as clean as I can. I'll clean it up with a sanding block and this ledge that I'm creating, and I'll use that as a template to go down further using the bearing on my bit here. And then I will take a binding routing bit and create a ledge here in which to inlay the top, so it's level with the edge here. It'll be nice and level, and yeah, that'll be nice. Just a little edge there, and just glue that in there. It'll be level with the top. Okay, so we've routed out this all that stuff, man. That's a lot of wood. It's all over my shop here. It's all over the place. But okay, so I made like a sort of a rough template just to help stabilize the router along these thinner edges here. I'm just sort of winging it, you know, with the bearing. And there's a few marks in here. I do have this gnarly this thing, but you know what? I'm just going to do it by hand. You know, some of these remaining things, my router bit won't go any deeper. Um, so it's what I have on hand. But this actually makes a great file. You can actually get rid of a lot of this, so we'll be doing that. Okay, so we'll probably do a little more cleanup in here, but basically it's got nice square walls here. That's what's next. Oh, I want the thing to have a nice deep tone, or as deep of a tone as I can coax out of this instrument. Well, good morning. Today we're going to put a ledge around here. I'm going to inset the top into all around this inside edge here. I've got a set of binding cutting bit with different size bearings that go on this thing, and it'll cut in a ledge around here. The smaller the bearing, the deeper the cut will be. And we're going to go pretty much as deep as we can go as binding goes to create a ledge here around the rim. The top will be level with the surface. Okay, so I found this nice piece of Baltic birch ply. I'm in the Michael's craft store. All the women are looking at me like, "What is he doing?" I'm sitting there, putting my ear up to the thing and tapping it, and actually, it's a nice tone to it. So I think that'll make a nice top. It is plywood, but it is a high quality piece of any place they sell Cricut or Glowforge type stuff. You can probably find this stuff. You know, if you're making smaller instruments like auto harps or, you know, door harps or whatever, this would work quite well. It's nice and consistent. It's even got a little bit of a finish on it. Yeah, it's got a little finish. I'm gonna have to sand some of that off around the edge here, but yeah, it's good. It's gonna work out fine. So we're gonna route that ledge next. Okay, where these knots, these big, hard, super hard, nasty knots were, it's like some sort of pitch pocket here. Yeah, I think I want to stabilize that. I'm going to use some super glue. And I'm just going to saturate that area with some super glue. A possible point of weakness in the structure of the instrument. I'm gonna, my super glue is starting to get thick, but I think I'm gonna just let that soak in there. The color's gonna be interesting. Very dark. Got all the sanding dust in here. I think I'll just sort of take advantage of that and brush some of that into the super glue there. Let it soak in. Okay, get this set up. Oh yeah, great. It's just a little bit deeper, which is fine because I'm going to sand it so it's flush. Yep, that looks good. I made a little jig here to draw a line so I could see how deep my router bit was going to be, and that worked out perfect. I just made a little gauge here. Yeah, that'll be nice. All right. Pretty good. All right. Take this off now. There. Yeah, very nice. That's going to be nice. Got a little area here I think I want to saturate. Bracket there. Not the most consistent piece of wood I've ever worked with. Hmm. Sounds better. The more you take off, the more resonant it is. The next thing I want to consider is I'd like to, I guess the bridge will probably span from here to here. I'm going to have a brace on the inside underneath the top, holding the top up, going from, here to here. I would like to put some piezo pickups in here directly underneath the bridge, kind of like the K&K pickup system. I might go online and see if I can find some piezo, tiny little piezo speakers on Amazon or something. Just hook them up in series. I'll need a way to get in there if the jack ever gets old and wears out. Now this is where the strings are going to go. I'm concerned a little bit because it is end grain of the strength of this. So a couple ideas I had. I thought it would be prudent to put support here. Glue in a epoxy in a block here just to fight the opposing forces this way. The other thing I would like to do is the strings are going to go in here. I have little brass metal grommets that are going to go down there. But because this will often probably be on someone's knee, I don't want little spikes sticking out, pins. I don't want to put pins in there like a dulcimer. I think I would like to inset this using my router. So I want to make sure this area is nice and stable. Okay, just make sure everything was nice and square here. A little reinforcement there. That should do the trick. So I think I'd like to put the jack here, because the end grain is sort of short here. I'm gonna put a reinforcement here. I want to give this some extra strength. Okay, so we have our little butt brace there, and we have our reinforcement, and let me see, and also we created our little ledge here. We're just going to clean it up a little bit with a sanding block, get it nice and round, and then I'm going to do I guess I'm going to do a gravestone rubbing type of thing with some of this brown paper I got on the bench here. Just going to go around and just smooth out any lumpy bumpies. I filled all these Forstner bit holes with some extra epoxy I had from gluing this. And finally, the next thing I want to do is come up with a way to, of course, mount the strings here on the butt of the instrument. A little kit that the customer provided me with was some tuning posts. They also I will be using for string posts to sort of like a nut. And of course we got our little tuning thing with our kit. And finally, these nice little brass grommets, which will go down here. It's another reason I wanted to put that in there. I wanted to make this area stable and strong. So I think I'll probably go halfway down and inset that so there's like a pocket in there. Okay, I'm going to do it like a gravestone rubbing and get a rough idea of and make a template for the top. Anchor it down here. Burnish the edge here with a stubby little pencil. Oh, come on. Okay. Inevitably, these usually come out a little bit larger than you want, which is good. I want that little bit of extra. I don't want it to be smaller. Right. Here's a little Super 77. And we'll cut that out. We'll rough cut it on the bandsaw, and we'll just hand sand it to fit. Almost perfect. It's tough doing without a laser. The next thing I want to do is shave off about 3/8 of an inch, or maybe a quarter of an inch, and make this a flat area here. Only I want to create put a hole in here. So I'm gonna make my own piezo pickups and put a line of them along the edge of the brace there. Should I dig that out a little more? I'm wrestling with that. There we go. I really don't like how it vibrates. It just, I have to pick up a new one. The bearings in it or something, it just vibrates and it's just very disconcerting. Yeah, I'm gonna hold off on that. Hey, honey, I need another tool. What do you mean you need another tool? You own more stuff, it owns you. Yeah, that is very true. I can actually wiggle it a little bit. Don't like it. No, sir, not one bit. So, my idea is this. I needed a way to cut this V-shaped notch at an angle. This represents the top, of course, the bridge. And this would be a string with the ball end here. And this half round route here. So these are the types of things that keep me up at night. In this case, I needed to make a cut along here with a router bit. The design of this, I'll show you here. Yeah, the design of this, look how, it doesn't look very strong, does it? It looks kind of, really close to the edge. Um, I think I can probably design something better. Okay, so this is the just a bunch of junk slapped together here, but it fits in there in such a manner. I just read super glue and horseshoe and maple leaves, and fits in there. You know, holds my router at an angle that will give me the cut that I require. Well, I got a new toy today. think it only cost me $13 on Amazon. It's a wireless mic unit that plugs into my phone. This is the little microphone, and clips onto your shirt. I'm hoping to improve the audio quality. This is the receiver, and it plugs into the phone. So I'm going to plug this in and compare the audio quality. Let's do that. I'm just going to plug it right in to the phone here as we speak. And I guess it comes with two microphones. So guys, it looks like it's connected. I'm going to clip that on my zipper here. Okay, so how does it sound? Hopefully it switched over and you're hearing the microphone now. All right, well, here goes nothing. Okay. It comes finished on both sides. Let's see which side is which. Okay, so it goes this way. It's a little asymmetric. It's handmade, man. And our brace will go under there like that. Now. How it rings a little longer, a little sweeter, a little more bass. Yeah, okay. Yep, that'll be good. X marks the spot. Well, I'm not going to need that many. I can put probably 4 of them here, maybe. Like that. That's where the saddle is going to go on the other side. And 4 of these and hook them up in parallel.
I mean, if you think of like a 7-string, the B would be like a 56. I'd probably at least do something like that. It's drop B or B standard?
Yo peeps, how you doing today? Here we are at the home shop. It's a wintry day in New England, so we won't be driving downtown a few miles away. So today is a perfect opportunity to continue work on our Davidic harp. And what I did yesterday was I got some piezoelectric elements, the little, the little piezo speakers you find in computers and all kinds of beepers, and they're everywhere. But you can get them in bulk. I think I paid under $6, and I got about 15 of these. I don't know. There's a lot of them. I got a little bag full of them. With these little piezo elements, and I glued them on to the bottom of this top. And this is about where our bridge is going to be. Hook up my dumpster dive Dean Markley bass amp there, practice amp. Ooh, get that hooked up. So today we're going to finish the bridge. We're going to inset this input jack a little bit so it fits better. We're going to glue this and probably put a couple of screws in there and cap them off with some little plugs here. And then we're going to sand it, and we'll begin to do a nice hand rubbed finish with some true oil, gunstock oil. I think it's appropriate, more in keeping with an ancient design instrument, don't you think? All right, let's do it. through. Yeah, these are like pennies a piece. They'll sound great. Put a bead of hot glue, sort of softens the high end a little bit on these because they can sound brittle. So the hot glue is sort of rubbery and it sort of will buffer that and mellow it out a bit. I got 4 of them in series. These come with a little bit of finish on them, so I think we're going to sand the edge. I sanded for the brace. Sand off some of that finish there. Sand the brace, why not? Okay. Have to wire this in beforehand. I can glue it up. Nice snug fit. Good morning. So I got that glued on as well. See how it sounds. But I could probably use this banjo head, just calf skin. I was thinking of doing like an X pattern here, you know. I think that would look kind of cool. I think we're repurposing this. All right, so I'm just rubbing a little sanding dust and fish glue into the remaining small voids. Yeah, not bad for not having a CNC. Okay, got some true oil. First coat, just soak right in there. Between each coat, I'm just gonna use a 4/40 steel wool. Just knock off the fuzzies. Well, that was fun. Like and subscribe, and we'll see you in the next one. And have a happy holiday. Bye.